see what you guys are saying. Okay. I don't know. I can't see anybody. You guys let me know if you're there. I think I got the chat window going. And once the people get here, we'll do a little bit of a test to see if anybody can hear me. Hey, Babu. Hi, Jennifer. There are people coming. Again, I just wanted to make sure everybody could hear me okay. I got a fan right in my face because this air conditioner still ain't getting right, and I'm fat and it's hot. So let me know if you can hear me okay. Can you hear me, bub? Like, not from the other room, but through your computer. I'm so happy to be with everybody tonight. We're getting some people now. I haven't put lipstick on for y'all. I haven't worn lipstick in like months. I don't leave the house that much to begin with, and the whole pandemic thing really fosters your antisocial streak, let me tell you. Has anybody else experienced that one? Like, I'm not having that much trouble not socializing because I didn't have that much trouble not socializing to begin with. But I miss this. I've been kind of slacking off on live readings for a while. There has been noticeably a lot of shit going on in the world that needs our attention. I've been working closely with Eastern Kentucky Mutual Aid and Appalachian Feminist Coalition to try to get some resources out into our community here in Eastern Kentucky while we're dealing with the coronavirus and this pandemic. And we've get out like 17 gallons of hand sanitizer. And my beautiful mother, Bonita Skaggs Parsons, has handmade like 100 masks. We had 100 more donated from some really cool ladies in New Hampshire. I want to say New Hampshire. I'm going to double check that. I've been bragging on that lipstick and it's already all over my face, y'all. It'll be everywhere before we're done tonight. But I've been trying to work with Eastern Kentucky Mutual Aid. We've had Mutual Aid Disaster Relief has been hooking us up with hand sanitizer, and so we've been getting that out. There's also been a big demand for the for the herbal supplements that somebody generously gave, a company generously donated. So we've been getting all kinds of goodies out into the community, and we've had a lot of people who are donating things personally, and we're redistributing those to folks who might need it more. I just love the mutual aid goodness, and so we're trying to help our community I'm trying to help my community deal with what's going on, but we are working together pretty well. And then, we have a serious social justice movement underway right now that everybody in this country should be paying attention to. And I think everybody who knows me knows I've been pretty outspoken in my support for the Black Lives Matter movement. We've donated masks to different protests, and it's okay. I can lose some viewers. I don't mind. I gotta stand up for what I feel like is right and what I know is right in my heart. So I've been trying to kind of not focus on myself so much and kind of use my platform to promote other good things, to promote mutual aid, to promote anti-racist work, to get people to pay attention to what they do and what they say, and to all of us to think and learn together and be better. That would be awesome. That'd be rad. But I want to read you guys some poems tonight, and I'm really just want to say thanks to the Cumberland Center for Justice and Peace and Kara for kind of getting me back out of my shell and back into the spotlight for a little poetry reading, because I was doing this like every Friday night for a while, and it seemed like everybody was really enjoying it. I don't know if I'm missing comments or but you guys feel free to jump in like anytime over here. I'm mastering this new platform Facebook launched on me while I wasn't looking. But yeah, we were doing this every Friday night, and I had slacked off on that for a while, so I'm glad for Kara and the Cumberland Center for Justice and Peace to give me this opportunity to read a little bit and hang out with you guys tonight. Super happy to be here. I put some links to the Cumberland Center. I put some links to where you can find my book. Oh, Planted by the Signs, you guys. I'm really proud of this baby, and I haven't really had a chance to brag it up as much as I would like either. You can get it through Ohio University Press's website, or you can check with your local bookstore. They may very well have a copy. I know Coffee Tree Books has some copies. I got a chance to do a reading there last fall before everything kind of fell apart on us. It's been hard on artists. It's been hard on performers. I know my musician friends are struggling. I know, everybody's working for tips right now. And myself included, I put the tip jar up. Feel free to hit it. Even a couple bucks. If not, that's okay too. I understand. We're all broke right now. But we're going to jump in and I'm going to read you some poetry. And I don't know who's watching. I liked it when they had a little list and you could see everybody and say hey. But they cut that out on me. It's a bummer, right? Like, you guys are watching me, but I can't, respond unless you speak up, which is tricky. I don't know. Anyway, for those of you who may not know me, what I want to do is I want to launch into the book by reading the preface to you guys. And to me, it was an important part because the title is a little obscure, Planted by the Signs, and it is designed, to reflect my Appalachian heritage. So I want to kind of just launch into that preface and give you guys a little background about what I'm about and about how I grew up, which had a huge effect on my life and the person I've become, and which was very much country. I am from Elliott County, Kentucky. It is a teeny tiny little spot on the map. I grew up, born and raised until I was 18 years old, and I've never really spent a whole lot of time outside of Appalachia. People say, well, you're not from around here. Like, where are you from? I'm from the Ridge, y'all. I'm from out on Bruin. I am, a country girl at heart, and people may have a hard time believing that sometimes, but it's the truth. And I want to give you guys a little introduction to me. So, this is the preface. At Great Mama's house, there was always a pone of cornbread on the kitchen table, and maybe, if you were lucky, some buttermilk biscuits left over from breakfast. At Great Mama's house, there was always something to eat fresh from the garden, and there was always something to read, too. It was heaven on earth for a fat little hillbilly word nerd. There were back issues of National Geographic stacked up in the corner of the living room, a basket of trashy romance novels with seething, sultry, shirtless men overflowed next to Great Mama's recliner. There was a Kennedy biography and a beat-up flea market copy of Profiles in Courage displayed on the side table right next to her commemorative presidential plate. It's been a minute. I'm getting back in the swing of things, guys. I'm sorry. Bear with me, okay? The family Bible squatted solemn and thick and reverent on her nightstand with its gossamer thin pages at rest and not to be disturbed by the grubby, clumsy hands of young'uns. Out in the rusty little camper where she stored all the scrap material from her quilts, she also stashed the racy True Detective magazines I was never supposed to find. My favorite book was her favorite book, the one she made good use of and referred to most often. The book that Great Mama kept tucked in her apron pocket or laid out within reach, easy to get to on the crooked little coffee table, The Old Farmer's Almanac. My Great Mama lived her life by the signs. She knew when the moon waxed and waned above her little holler, and she knew what its moods meant for the soil her roots were planted in. This collection is inspired by and written for my Great Mama, Lovell Blankenbeckler. It was my honest-to-goodness honor to care for her at the end of her life, and many of the following poems were written during that time. My Great Mama taught me her ways, those ways forgotten and buried in the pages of the almanac. She taught me to look up at the sky, to feel the stars move through my body and ride on into the ground. She taught me to know when to plant and harvest. She taught me to know when to bloom. I miss her a lot, y'all. Her birthday was just here recently, and she was 97. She was going to be 97 when she passed away. And she always loved to have a big birthday party. Like, that was a thing. I still find myself, birthday party planning in my head. She liked to party. And she would always say, oh, don't make a fuss, don't make a fuss. But if there weren't, 20 people barbecuing in her yard, something went awry. There has to be more people show up than that. She loved getting a good present, too. Let me tell you. She loved it. She just loved the pomp and circumstance of the whole thing. And she liked to listen to people talk and talk with people, for sure. She's a talker. I get reminiscent when I do these things, and I hope I don't bore you guys. Tell me to move on. Feel free. But the book book is separated into different sections that are, references to the Farmer's Almanac. And my wonderful mother, Bonita Skaggs Parsons, is an artist. I grew up in a family of hillbilly artists, which was also a really lucky way to grow up. But she did the frontispiece for this work for me. And it is a take on the Zodiac Man from the Farmer's Almanac. So it's separated into segments. When the signs are in the head, when the signs are in the breast, and when the signs are in the range, which is the blood. And it kind of just progresses through the harvest season. And at the same time, it progresses through my grandmother's life and, my experience of being with her at the end of that life. So it was an important book for me to write. She didn't get to see it published, which breaks my heart. But she did get to see her name in print a couple times in association with some of my poetry. So that's enough to make you smile and to know that I did her memory right, because she was a heavy-duty reader. Okay, I'm going to jump into another poem here, y'all. And, I am an Appalachian poet. Most of my poetry is very much centered in eastern Kentucky. And some of it has a traditional feel. Some of it goes back to Appalachian things, Appalachian traditions and stories that are passed down. And then some of it's a more modern take on my life here in eastern Kentucky and being who I am and living the way I want to live and somehow fitting into my little microcosm of the world. And this poem is towards the end of the book, but I wanted to kind of read it first. I think it's one that I picked out. Look at all the little... I got this awesome Post-it dispenser through mutual aid. Snag that, man. And I'm going crazy with it. I'm going mad with these Post-its. I love it. The one I'm looking for is a poem called Breathing. The book came open to it, so I'm going to read this one because I've been talking about my memo already so much. This is a poem that was originally published in Pine Mountain Sand and Gravel, which is a great literary journal. It's been around forever. The Southern Appalachian Writers Cooperative puts it together. It's always beautiful to look at. It's always full of really quality content, poetry, prose, artwork, and book reviews. You can read about Planted by the Signs in Pine Mountain Sand and Gravel as well. But this poem was originally published there, and it's called Lovell Gets the Last Word. Lovell is my great mama, who I loved dearly. The living room Papa built, sprouting from the tiny trailer, leans downhill toward the garden. Slightly sloped furniture is arranged around a big screen TV, 3 foot thick. Mama got on credit from the Fingerhut catalog. Papa is gone, and we're the last inhabited homestead at the end of a road, off the blacktop. But even the mamas and me watch the Derby, especially since coverage preempted our evening dose of local news and weather. Tony Cavalier doesn't have to tell me there's a storm brewing in the sky over the EKY. But the sun is shining on our tin roof and on the $1 million hides of thoroughbreds. Before the race, I set out for the back porch in search of a rainbow and my secondhand flask. I want to spice up my sweet instant coffee and toast debauchery and bourbon and all those people drinking dark-aged, potent liquor blood of the place I love. To bourbon, yum, and betting the whole wad on a speckled horse. He looks like clouds galloping, Mama remarks. And there's our old ugly governor, great Mama replied, and his old ugly wife. That's not a statement on the current governor. My grandma, as I said in that preface, was a big Kennedy lady. She loved her a handsome Democrat. But she always made me laugh so much. And she was such a fascinating person. I'm going to read some more. I'm going to jump right in. This is a poem that I wanted to read because it kind of makes me think of a lot of people I know right now. And there are a lot of women out there fighting tooth and nail for their lives and their families and all this mess. There are black women on the street every night, trying to take care of the whole community, trying to mother the world and letting us off on it more than we should be. There are also mamas out there who are terrified right now to send their babies to school. They're scared to go to the Walmart and get groceries and wipes and the things that you have to have if they have the money to get those things. There's a lot of angry women in the world, y'all, and it's not a wise move to make to piss so many powerful ladies off. I'm just telling you. And this is a poem called Crying Mad that I wrote after an incident somewhere that I'll tell you about if you really want to know. It's that academic tea. Crying mad. Lord, I love to watch a woman get mad. Temper rising in her cheeks like rouge. It's a beautiful sight to behold. Womankind flushed and furious when she's had enough and she's about to tell you so. Maybe she's scowling, brows furrowed like plowed ground, pink tongue scythe sharp and fixing to mow you down. Maybe she's happy to be snarling, with the slightest tremble in her lips, anticipating pouncing and the act of eating you alive. Or maybe she's like me, and there are tears in her eyes, trying in vain to drown out the flashing wildfire already blazing beyond her control. Ladies is mad, y'all. It's a weird world. It's a tough place to be. Okay, it says I have 23 comments and I see like nothing. Why can't I not see what you guys are saying? It's making me so mad. Let me look over here. Open live questions editor? I don't know. They changed it around on me, y'all. I'm trying to get to you. All I see is one little comment up here. And I don't see any of the rest. Do I need to go up, maybe? I don't know. I know I need to quit babbling on and start reading some more damn poems before y'all get bored. Hey, here we go. There's a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I'm really sorry about that. Like I said, they mixed it up on me. I don't know where I'm going to see that. Okay, we're going to read another poem, though, because that seems to be okay. Y'all seem like that. Okay, it says new comment. Maybe if I click this. Ba-bam. Hey, there's everybody. There's Luann. There's some people. I see some people. I'm glad y'all could be on here and saying hey with me tonight. Like I said, I missed you guys. I get into this. Poetry is important to me, and it's something that I think a lot of people see as really inaccessible. You know, there's this idea of poetry as super highbrow, and you have to use a certain format, and you have to talk about certain topics, and it has to fit into this genre or that subgenre, and blah, blah, blah. But honestly, I think poetry comes from the gut, and it comes from the heart as much as it comes from the pen and the stylization. The raw shit is my favorite. You know, I like it when people are realistic about what they need and what they experience. And that's how I try to write, and it's how I try to live. I mean, if you know me, you know me. I don't have an internet persona. This is pretty much what you get in person. So I'm glad to be a transparent human being, and I'm glad to have friends who support me, and, you know, people all around me who support me. And I'm glad to support honesty in the arts and to connect people to poetry in a way that they might be scared to connect. But I'm going to read some more and stop yammering on. Stop breaking your ear. Well, while we're on the Angry Women page, let's read one that I like to read when I get out and about in public. And it's about my mama. And she's fantastic. Like I said, she is an amazing lady. I have no grump with my mom. I'm lucky to have the mother that I have. This is bothering me. Phil White, hi, how are ya? I don't know where the blue chair... Hey, there's people coming. I see Corbin saying that she likes my looks. I'm trying, guys. A little slow. I just love y'all for putting up with me. But this poem I like to read when I'm out in public, out and about, and it is about my mama whooping my ass. It's called The Strikeout. We were playing ball in the old backer bottom over on Bruin when Mom struck me out and whipped my ass right there in front of the birds and the bees and the whole brood. I was 13 and the hormones were in full swing, and so was my secondhand Louisville Slugger. Her underhanded pitch flew fast, and so did my temper. I charged the mound and the woman who birthed me. I saw red and then cloudless blue sky and Mommy's face, smiling but not smug, and hovering above me as I wriggled in the lush cover crop, flat on my back and fuming, and still not as strong as she always was. I deserved it, y'all. Oh, Peanut's scratching a flea or something. He's got an itch. He don't got fleas. He loves a bath. Yeah, you love that one, don't you, Mom? You like the one. That's the absolute truth. I had it coming, and teenage Misty got plowed down and sat on by Mama. I had it coming. She knocked the wind out of me, and it had to go. It had to go. You don't backtalk your mama. In my family, you probably wouldn't think it, but we have a competitive streak. But it only, like, when there are light stakes involved, like card players. Do not play rook with these people if you don't know what you're doing. I mean, get out of the way, because you will piss somebody off before it's over with. And baseball, it got competitive. I loved playing baseball when I was younger. I did a lot of that stuff. We were pretty outdoorsy folks. Let's see, what have I got marked next? You never really know. I never know exactly what I'm going to read until I start reading, because it's really about what the crowd wants to hear too. So if y'all have the book or have seen the book or you know some of my poetry, ask about it and I'll read it if I've got it handy. I brought a couple of my journals too, so that I could pull out some stuff nobody's published before and nobody's ever seen before for you guys. Still getting mad at these comments, and things eat at me like that. I gotta leave it alone. We're gonna read. This one is one I also like to read in public, especially when I'm out in the big city, far from the backwoods. Called Lawless. I try to tell my friends from town there ain't no law on the ridge. No blue lights flashing in your mirrors, no popo on patrol, just one wore-out state boy with 3 counties to cover, and no overtime pay in sight. You don't have to worry about how big your bonfire gets or how loudly your music echoes off the foothills and the hollers. The neighbors won't call the cops because there ain't no neighbors and there ain't no cops. And the sheriff can't be bothered to gas up the cruiser more than once a week. Take that as you will. We all have, well, not all of us, but a lot of us have known small town stuff like that. Alright, it's garden season too. Has anybody been getting anything like super awesome out of the garden? I have not much. We got a little mess of peas so far. And I've got tomatoes that look promising but are not delivering the way I want them to. They need to get on the ball. But this is a poem that I wrote about Mama and I. We built a block garden out back, and we built a garden specifically to grow cabbages because we love sauerkraut. Everybody's got to make some sauerkraut in Eastern Kentucky with their mama at least once. And this one's called War Amid the Cabbage. The garden is plowed and planting season is in the air between snowflakes. I keep thinking about the time me and that cutworm went to war. It was a backyard brawl, one-on-one in a raised bed arena. Excuse me. Woo. Okay. One-on-one in a raised bed arena built from concrete blocks and designed to coddle the cabbage. Somewhere buried deep under all that dirt I packed in, one wheelbarrow load at a time, it lurked, mocking me, waiting quietly in the underground dark to sabotage my future sauerkraut. You should have seen me, down on my hands and knees with a sieve and a spoon, sifting slowly through the soil, working up a sweat and cussing up a storm, and determined to slay my solitary, slimy enemy. I got the little son of a bitch, too. I did. It took a while. I really did sift through, like, probably 30 pounds of dirt. If you guys have seen the damage a cutworm you can do, it was like my first experience, like, really close up with one, and they just come through and they snip off all your plants right above, like, ground level. It's like nibble, 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 and everything just falls perfectly. bastards. Alright, let's read another one. What do we got here? That was all from the first section of the book, and we're moving on to a second one. This is another modern Appalachian theme I think a lot of people who grew up like I did can understand. I always say at these readings I could write a whole book of poems about my grandma's police scanner, and I believe that's probably the truth. This one's called The Scanner. I could write a whole book of poems about Mama's police scanner. Certain tones perk my ears like I'm Pavlov's hungry hound dog, drooling for good gossip, for juicy scraps of stories tossed out onto the airwaves to land in my living room late at night. I'm listening and wondering, whatever happened to that poor woman whose husband shot her in the foot while he was cleaning his 45? I'm listening and lamenting, the 35-year-old female, overdosed and unresponsive, because in small towns, I must have known her. Because in a town this small, I must have known her, or at least known of her. I'm up at all hours, and I'm listening, filling in the details with poetic license and abandon, and hoping the two men talking dirty in the drive-thru at McDonald's got their asses whooped good, 'cause someone bigger and badder than me was listening too. You never know what's going to happen at closing time at the McDonald's, y'all. It gets crazy. And let me tell you, what is up with people being so damn mean to customer service representatives? Can we stop? It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know how they do it every day, dealing with people. I want to punch somebody. Alright, here's one. Here's one for those uppity folks that yell at the girl at the Target or the Walmart or whatever it is that they think they're better than. You're shopping there, lady. What are you quarreling about? You might drown. If you try and convince me you can't smell the rain coming, I'm liable to conclude you're full of shit. Or else I'd shake my head and bless your heart in the judgy kind of way. It's hard to imagine existing with your nose stuck in the air and not a clue what the wind is trying to tell you. Listen, the rain crows are cooing soft warnings as they pick through the grass, waiting for the worms to wake up. Look, every pale little leaf turns its pale belly skyward. There's a storm coming, and they're ready to drink it all in. People don't know how to act right. I'm telling you. Here's one that's a little racy. You want a racy one? New comment, 17. I see nothing. Nothing. Somebody fix this. I need like a tech support. It's not possible right now, but I didn't think I was this clueless, but I'm getting old, y'all. I keep seeing these memes that are like personally offensive. Peanut heard something. I'm getting the mad scientist pompadour instead of the slick one. I've messed my hairspray up. Alright, here we go. This one's called Mongrels. I used to love the lowlifes, the damaged strays, the downright dirty lipstick dicks disguised as decent dudes. I longed to soothe the rabid, gently foaming at the mouth, swollen tongues lolling out with a thirst that can't be quenched. Strays too scared to stay, terrified to drink from my deep well. I was always too tempted to take them in. The strays who wander up in the yard at 4 a.m., hungry and sniffing around my back door. It's that entendre, y'all. Let's find something different, though. Let's switch it up. Let's switch gears a little bit. This is another one that kind of goes back to my Appalachian roots and tells a little bit of a picture story about a memory that probably a lot of us have. It's called Mommy and Mama on Them. I love to listen to Mommy and Mama on Them, sitting out on the porch of the evening, breaking beans and telling stories, or shucking corn and sharing gossip. Didn't much matter the task at hand. The result was rural root sorority. Women in their element, loving every minute of it, and daring the sun to sink any lower on their conversations. Mama's laugh would come from the ground up, make her whole body and the foundation shake when her feisty, blonde younger sister let fly a cuss word they'd have quarreled at the boys over. Mommy smiled at the scene and hummed along to an old country song spinning around somewhere in her head. There was always something to do, and the women all lit in and went to it. Their calloused hands kept busy, getting things done. There was always a row to hoe, a supper to cook, a man whose breeches and ego required mending. There were children and livestock to tend, and Mommy and Mamma and them pecked around like a whole pack of mother hens on the prowl. Of the evening, they'd roost out on the porch to cluck in comfort for a while before that damn cock crowed again. It's been a minute since I've read for so long, y'all. Also, I smoke too much, and I'm about to light one. I've been trying to be very professional, but I got my window open. I'm going to have to get a little white trashy on y'all. I apologize. You can't do that in public, see? That's why they're keeping me home. What I love is that they actually use some of my photographs for the front of the book. I just love that. That's my grubby, stubby little hand there washing dishes. Those are all cups that I loved and broke. By now, I've broke like all of them. And they used Mama's hands in one of the poems, and that's my cousin Tony's woodpile over here. I was jealous. I was jealous of his firewood. All right. It's not moonshine, it's water. I don't drink a lot these days. I don't. I really don't. It hurts my stomach. Again, I'm getting old. And I got a little too friendly with substances when I was younger. There's a poem in here that makes reference to Old Man Kessler. Let's say we were that familiar. But this one is one I wanted to read in the beginning, and I couldn't find it in time. It's called Breathing Ghosts, and I think it kind of says a lot about how it feels to be somebody who's decided to remain in Appalachia. And it is a tough life to live sometimes. It is not a region that is known for its prosperity right now economically. A lot of people are out of work. A lot of people are suffering. And we'll talk about that in a minute. I'll rant some more, I'm sure. But this one is about the complicated relationship that comes with being an Appalachian. And it's called Breathing Ghosts. And it has one of my pictures too. Look. Dandelions. I am haunted by old-fashioned ways. I'm rooted too deep to till it all up and turn over. I'll never be a transplant blooming out in a rooftop garden or flourishing in foreign soil. I am the prodigal seed. Dandelion fluff finding a way back to where it began. I may drift, but I'll always land in the hills, in the boonies, in Kentucky, carried by a current of homesickness coming in chronic, reliable waves. Here, I breathe deep and do my best and know my mission. Here, I feel the ghosts of generations of family. Kinfolks filtered into my lungs off the country air. Familiar ghosts that send chills up my spine because sometimes it's dark that way and scary. Because sometimes roots can get tangled and they can smother out anything else that dares to grow close. I picked this one because it is blackberry season, y'all. My Uncle Rick picked me 2 quarts of blackberries, and I just love him to death for it. I need to make a cobbler, but I haven't made it that far. But they are in there, and I've been eating them by the handful. This one's called Bitter Berries. The last blackberries of the year were hanging right there off an unexpected briar sprung up underneath the kitchen window. There were a few good fat ones, too, glowing dark and lush against the battered underpinning. They mocked me beautifully. After I'd scoured 2 ridges, foraging hard, desperate to find a pie along the dirt road. I can never seem to keep ahead of the critters. Eager, I tromped down the grass and picked them all, careful not to drop a one, forgetful of bare feet and lurking copperheads. I popped a whole handful into my mouth, and I puckered up tight and let out a shout that slammed against the cliffs and scattered a flight of doves. You get that sour bite, y'all. Here's another one. It kind of says a lot about my stance on things. And like I said, ain't nothing being revealed in this reading that most people who know me even in the slightest little bit don't already know. I'm a pretty out there person. I've always been one who didn't give much of a damn what people thought. And I say what feels like needs saying. This one is called Hard to Swallow. I used to start my mornings with a cup of coffee and the news. I'd settle into my favorite chair and scan the channels looking for local weather and bracing myself for the big headlines. And I imagine, don't get me wrong, I didn't trust it, but I watched it, and I imagined myself clever enough to sift through the facts and the copy brought to you by Pfizer. The news used to make me sad and skeptical. Nowadays, I'm just pissed. Now I stop my mornings with coffee and a Kentucky sunrise, sitting on the porch and savoring the bitter taste on my tongue. 'Cause there ain't enough sugar on earth to get me to swallow all that bullshit. That's the truth. You can't sweet talk it. Now I want coffee, though, is the problem. Are y'all coffee all night people? I am coffee all night people. I come from one of those households where it's like, you don't ask somebody if they want a cup of coffee when they get there. You say, I'm going to put a fresh pot on. Because everybody wants a cup of coffee. Everybody's ready for it. We've had some good rainy days, so I'm going to read one that I wrote for Lexington Poetry Month, which is a great event every June. I believe it's June. Oh, I got to stretch that leg, y'all. I'm sorry. I told you I'm getting old. Oh, my knee. Oh. Anyway, Lexington Poetry Month is Workhorse. Workhorse is an indie press out of Lexington. They published my very first chapbook, Biscuits and Blisters, which I won the Workhorse chapbook contest. And they do Lexington Poetry Month every year, and it's a really fun way to just kind of launch yourself into poetry and meet other people who are interested in poetry. But this poem was a product of Lexington Poetry Month getting me motivated. The rain. The rain is here. I hear the wind that brought it in, brazen and gusty and bold, whistling at me through a drafty window. The rain recognizes me, and its rhythms satisfy my sudden lust for hard refrain. The rain, the rain. Fat drops beat out a steady smack on the tin roof, one at a time. Stubborn individuals stand out before they slide away to be soaked up by soft earth and thirsty roots. The rain is here, right below the surface. It's wet, y'all. Have a good night at work. Mitch, how are y'all doing? I talked to Lindsay a little while ago and checked in. I love that my local people and my faraway people all mix it up together. I just want to connect all of you guys and tell you that I love y'all so much. I want to love on you. You gotta try to do something to counteract the crazy shit that's going on in this world. I'm going to read a couple on this page. This is another one about food and weird food that we connect to and know and love. This is a poem all about a gooseberry bush. It's called Gooseberries. The gooseberry bush is hanging full, thorny branches drooping under the weight of a tart snack, damn near gone extinct. We don't care if it stings, the occasional thorn finding a soft finger pad. We cultivate the wild in our big backyard. We tend to it out behind the shed. Me and Mama, we keep the taste of yesterday biting on our tongues. These are some mama poems. I'm going to read another one about my great mama. This one makes me a little bit emotional, but my great mama was not a super morning person. She was more of a night owl. She liked to stay up and finish her romance novel. She liked to watch them late night reruns that came on TV, especially The Big Valley, which I don't know, it's a little more obscure, but if you know Bonanza, you should know The Big Valley. Gaw. Let's just not even talk about it. But this one's called Good Night, Grandma. At 2 in the morning, I kneel at the altar of her rust brown recliner. After the credits roll on past the big valley, and Miss Barbara Stanwyck has her hearty last laugh, I fill a plastic pan packed home from the hospital with lukewarm city water and Epsom salts. How much of this land sank between her toes? Through the camphor stink of white liniment, my soft hands find where rough heels used to be. The kind that accompany hard work and shoes with soles worn thin. The medicine burns my gnawed-up nails, and the effort of her smile tingles. You've got Pap's hands, she whispers. A blessing. All palm and no fingers. Let's see, I read Breathing Ghost. That's a deep one. Let's see. There's a lot of poems in here about taking off my bra. I mean, that's just something that I just, noticed that comes up over and over, apparently. It's funny how you don't see your own themes. Okay, let's read another one that's kind of another angle that, women are feeling right now. It's called The Art of Falling Apart. Backwoods women have perfected the art of falling apart without a fuss. Our panic and pain are private, sealed up tight and put away. You won't find our tears leaking out from behind closed doors. They aren't meant for you. We're too busy holding it all together to indulge in the pleasures of falling apart. It can never be... Peanut's mad. There's somebody out there. He doesn't like trucks. He doesn't like motorcycles. Ooh. It's just infuriating. Alright. Can we start over on that? No. Give him a minute. He'll settle. P, come here! He ain't gonna do it. But I'm gonna start over. The Art of Falling Apart. Backwoods women have perfected the art of falling apart without a fuss. Our panic and pain are private, sealed up tight and put away. You won't hear our tears leaking out from behind closed doors. They aren't meant for you. We're too busy holding it all together to indulge in the pleasures of falling apart. It can never be a public performance followed by a rose bouquet. And we're too greedy to rip off a piece and share sorrows. Our sorrow is our own. You wouldn't understand it anyway. Let's see. Here's one that I like that kind of emphasizes the small worldliness of it all, y'all. Does anybody else have the experience that whenever you leave Kentucky, you meet somebody from Kentucky while you're out in the world somewhere? This one's called Truck Stop Strangers. I woke up with strangers on my mind. Little flashes of the features of people my life collided with when I worked third shift at a truck stop in the middle of the Midwest. Strangers I adopted as familiar faces to get me through some lonely midnights far from the hills and hollers of home. Like the boys from the car wash next door, who made their money scrambling over semis with soapy rags at top speeds, even in the dead of winter when icicles caked up their beards and sideburns and their fingertips turned purple and blue. They spent their money on lottery tickets and Marlboro Reds and Nugget and Mountain Dew. Or the middle-aged waitress with sad eyes who came in like clockwork for a Busch 30-pack and a half pint of Varsky 100 proof, Exhausted after an evening of attending to lecherous travelers and stingy tourists just passing through, she counted out dingy dollar bills from her dingy apron pocket, and even her teased up hair had fallen, wilted, given up. There was the big-bellied pig farmer who ushered in the dawn with a load of squealing hogs, doomed and stacked 3 deep in a shiny silver trailer. He stopped to fill up the gas tank on the way to the slaughterhouse. His leather face was smattered with grime and laugh lines and grimaces, spread out in equal parts. He grumbled if my timing was off and his coffee wasn't fresh enough. I'll never forget the night a girl I went to high school with walked through the double doors. She was great big pregnant and on the arm of a truck driving husband, and we both stopped to take stock, incredulous that East Kentucky could sashay in out of a cornfield off the highway outside of Kingdom City. Let's see what else I marked. Ooh, here's a good itchy summertime poem. I guess I'm going to read for about 15 more minutes. Time got away from me because I've just really been enjoying it. I know we've had people in and out. I hope that y'all will go and give the Cumberland Center for Justice and Peace a like. Show them your support. Let them know that you enjoyed Kara's efforts to get the arts involved in this creative process. There's the boy. There's the crabby boy. Oh, Widow Grumperson. He hates motorcycles. Oh, he makes him so mad. Oh, he's so mad about it. Yeah. That's Peanut, you guys. This is my brother Eric's dog who thinks I'm like his wife mom. Which is what all dudes think. Right? I mean, right? No. Let's lay off the 90s comedy. And I'm going to read one called, like I said, this is an itchy summertime poem. It's called Blooms and the Blood. And the title of this poem is a reference to the title of the book as well. Because that's when you tend to flowers. When the signs are in the rains. When the signs are in the blood. It's when you prune. When you transplant your roses. When you do all the flowery things that you need to do. Blooms in the blood. Stop scratching in public. What is your deal? We are in public right now. He's going to lick his balls now. I'm going to move this way. Maybe you guys can try not to watch him lick his balls. Blooms and the blood. I ain't afraid of bumblebees or the itchy aftermath of chiggerweed. The clover is too green, vibrantly begging to be disturbed. And so I flop down on the ground, flat on my back, and weak against the temptation to feel the earth enfold me, hold me. I smell lilies and chocolate mint and honeysuckle vining high. I feel the soil soak into my veins, straight into my blood, pumped into my heart. I close my eyes and feel the beat of it blooming, and remember how you should only plant flowers when the signs are in the rains. Blossoms and bulbs are begat by blood. Now he's done scratching and he just wants to get in on this action. Oh, P. He's a silly boy. And you would think this bed would be big enough for the both of us, but you would not believe how often I wake up with this much room. Okay, I'm going to read one more from Planted by the Signs. I always end with this one because one of my local friends really loves it, and she always requests it if she comes out to support me at readings. And it's got one of my pictures here. This is Elliott County, y'all. 504. Represent. You wouldn't think you'd see it in print, but there it is. This one's called Powerball Power Play. Y'all know what I'd do with all that Powerball money? Billions of dollars. Can you even imagine? $500 tucked away in my $2 flea market wallet would feel like $5 million to me. Billionaires ain't people. They're pasty, cutthroat creatures of comfort. But that's besides the point. You know what I'd do? I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd own this whole damn county. I'd buy out the good old boys because I'm getting sicker and sicker of them getting fatter and fatter on donuts and government paychecks with a hot and hearty side of homegrown nepotism. I'd buy out the whole damn courthouse and start my own one-woman Stark Ridge super PAC and install more suitable candidates handpicked by me from hard Scrabble dirt. I donate so much money to my old alma mater that they'd have to put my damn name on it. And I'd give all the kids, every last one, a chance, in spite of their spot in the country ass caste system. To spite it. And you know what else? I'd spend that dirty money and own land. I'd amass a fortress of forgotten farms and old home places abandoned by greedy generations who'd rather hunker down to die a slow death of suburban boredom. And then I'd give it all away. It's their loss, and Powerball money well spent. That is a poem from Planted by the Signs, y'all. It is from Ohio University Press. It's a beautiful book. You should check out everything from Ohio University Press. They have some really cool stuff out right now. I wish I owned it all. But I love everything about this book, and it came out so well, and I was so happy to work with everybody at Ohio University Press. They were super kind to me. Stephanie Williams was great. We got to have dinner, and I got to do a reading at the Carnegie Center already. I miss being out there with y'all. I miss being out there reading. Let's read a few that aren't published anywhere, and then we'll call it a night, okay? I don't want to keep y'all too long, for real. And like I said, check out the Cumberland Center for Justice and Peace. Let them know that you enjoyed this event. Maybe we can get some more people in there to talk about what they do artistically, and maybe we can do an art workshop. I don't know. I do arts. We can do that, maybe. But it's good to spend time with y'all, and it's good to kind of hear what's on your mind. I'm going to read through all these comments later, I promise. It's still bugging the shit out of me that I can't see them. It says I have 51 comments, and I can see like maybe 20 of them. Anyway, let's read some poems that were suggested through my friends here on Facebook. Let's see what I've got here. This is an older journal, so I probably haven't read these out loud in a while. Let's see here. Here's one that somebody suggested. I didn't write who, so I'm sorry. And it's a little bit of a scribble. But it's called Community and Cornbread. There ain't a damn soup bean in sight. That's how I know it's serious. Not a bag of pintos on the back of the very bottom shelf. None of them white ones I ain't fond of. Or even those pre-cooked kind in the glass jar that Mama deems passable. I found 3 pounds of cornmeal, and we split it, me and Mama. 'Cause hard times means hanging together, even when we're tore up, quarantined 2 counties apart. They're hunkering down. The Mamas and the Grannies, the Papas and the Paps, they're hunkering down and telling stories dated 1918. And remembering cornbread flipped in cast iron over a wood stove or an open fire. They're pulling out ball jars and mason jars and lids and flats and calling up strong-armed grandbabies. They're passing down survival. Thank you so much, you guys. That's one that I wrote at the very beginning of this quarantine. I didn't even remember writing this one, but it looks like the suggestions for this poem were Cornbread Apocalypse and Backwoods Barricade. So that's what I went with. Here's what came out. Batten down the backwoods, y'all. It's time to cut a path to the deepest holler. Hack back the sawbriars all the way to Great Papa's cellar. It's been standing strong since the last depression. Cut out of the creek rock, squatting, nestled in a moss-covered hillside where Grandma's creeping flock still grows. The cellar and the flowers, they've been waiting for you to come home and plant roots. Stretch barbed wire and broken glass across the gravel road in. Barricade the backwoods. Survival ain't ever been an issue for the Hilljacks and Jills. Fire up the stills. And put on a pot of stone soup, and we'll post up on the porch and watch them rich men's bootstraps snap. That's a good one, y'all. Ray Ray! Hi. I hope Tasha and Ray Ray are still watching. Ray Ray was so sweet and gave me a gift the other day when I was out doing mutual aid stuff. It was an air freshener. I had my choice of pizza or unicorn squirrel. I obviously went with unicorn squirrel. Don't get me wrong, I love pizza, but unicorn squirrel. Don't I look like a unicorn squirrel kind of gal? Ray Ray sees it. All right. Yeah, I'll try to download that too. Thank you from the Cumberland Center. We'll try to get this up so y'all can watch it later if you do miss it tonight. Here's one that my buddy Corbin suggested, and it was worn out shoes. There's a hole in the toe of my boot. I reckon it's plain old wear and tear because I don't recall getting snagged anywhere. I didn't even notice it at first. Not till the rain started up real hard. It's kind of tough to avoid puddles when the gravel road gets ground down and your dirt road turns to clay mud. I know I should have bit the bullet and bought 2 pairs of shoes back when Kmart closed. But bless my broke heart, I have trouble paying half-price retail when the yard sale season is creeping up, and I'd rather be barefooted anyhow. That's the truth. Once it starts like March, I take my shoes off. Okay. Oh, let's see. Here's one. Somebody else I missed, my papa. We were very close, and he passed away 2 years before Great Mama did, and they both passed on Memorial Day. So May is a tough month for my family, and it's a rough time for us, but I always think of my papa with happiness because he was a very loving man and he would have wanted me to think happy thoughts. This one was a suggestion that just says, patience. Papa always said, have patience, and he'd reach out and fold my chubby hand up into his working man's hand. The one that got caught in a saw at the lumber mill up in Ohio. The one with crooked knuckles and confident nubs. Papa always said, have patience, and he'd smile at me, and I'd see myself reflected in his blue eyes. Patience is a virtue, Papa would say to me, and Mama would snort and laugh and holler in from the kitchen. Practice what you preach. Okay, this is another one. I'm going to go back to workforce for a minute here, and I do love it. As soon as I got in the car, I took my little air freshener out of the package and put that citrus scented sucker up, and man, thank you. Because my van smelled like hand sanitizer and Lysol. That's my life. My life smells like hand sanitizer and Lysol. I am a nervous Nelly, y'all. That's happening. Oh, speaking of, though, I wanted to show off these nifty goodies that Queer Appalachia sent to me so I could work with Eastern Kentucky Mutual Aid. We've been getting a lot of donations, and I've been sterilizing everything as much as I can. But check this out. It's one of those UV wands, y'all. Don't look directly into it. But it's really cool. It's rechargeable. And I also got a sterilizing bag. So I'm zipping everything up in there and really socking it to it after I do the Lysol and the bleach wipes and all that goodness. I just wanted to let y'all know that I am working hard to keep us all safe as much as I can. And I appreciate you guys coming out and getting masks and getting sanitizer back in my hometown in Sandy Hook. And coming out and getting all that goodness. And for the donations that have been coming in, you guys have been great. But this is one that Workhorse Poetry was doing some prompts at the beginning of the quarantine. And this prompt was, make a map. Something about a map. I can't remember the exact thing, but it says map. The problem is, in order to make a map, you've got to have a destination in mind. I mean, cartography is a science, and it seems plausible and possible to pin down plenty of alternate routes over land and sea, out of hill and holler, even all the way to Cincinnati. That's what my great papa used to say, whenever he was feeling itchy and threatening to run away. I'm going to Cincinnati. I don't think he ever made it across the river. My problem is, you've got to have a stopping point to plot towards in order to make a map. You've got to have a place to end up, and I can never seem to get beyond where I started. Oh, here's one, and I'm going to read this one. I hope I have another drink left. Oh. Again, it's water. It's not moonshine. I just don't have many glasses right now. This one is for Ray Ray. This is a poem from Workhorse Prompt that the prompt was, what did you sound like when you were 9? So I wrote this poem for my 9-year-old self, for little 9-year-old Misty. If I traveled back in time to have a chat with chubby-cheeked 9-year-old Misty Marie, I'd say to her, with confidence, I'd say, baby girl, those glasses look good as hell on us. And 2 eyes are better, and 4 eyes are better than 2. That mean little bastard Willie is going to end up in jail anyway after attempting to hold up the family dollar with a pocket knife. And little bitty Misty would be shocked, but not particularly surprised. She'd nod and wrinkle her nose and push those big orange frames up with her middle finger. And pure innocence. I'd say to baby Misty, with her funny hats and stacks of books, Mommy's right. You're beautiful. And not everyone is going to like you. And so what if they don't? Fuck them. You don't have to fight with that girl on the playground, even though she pushed you down and called you fat and the teacher said she'd look the other way. You don't have to throw one punch. I know we don't want to. And she'd look up at my face, our face, and see herself there, still with joy in the eyes. And she'd say to me, you cuss too much. And I'd say to her, you'll learn. That is one that I would have, because little 9-year-old Misty wouldn't have that language flying around. Lord have mercy. She had better manners than that. I hope my mama's not listening, because, she gets me every time. There are too many mentions of titties in my poem, too, and it's not a mammal pleaser. Alright, this was one that was written during the quarantine. And the 2 suggestions, I got 2 suggestions. One from my dear sweet friend Brian Stevens. And another from my friend in Lexington, Liza. Liza suggested cryptids, and Brian suggested mountain monsters. So, here's my poem about the backwoods monsters that we've all come to know and love. The Mothman came to me on the back porch. He dropped down out of the starry sky and pulled up one of them rusty lawn chairs and lit right in it and crossed all of his legs comfortably, like he was at home. The sharp flutter of wings folding reminded me of the sound of a crisp quilt snapped off the clothesline. Maybe it was the eerie flicker of the security light reflecting off the bubbling creek that brought him in. Or maybe he smelled my coffee, strong and black and dark as early morning. He asked for sugar and cream and cupped my favorite mug delicately between his sharp and fuzzy forelegs. It's the end of the world, he said with a nod, and nothing ominous in his droning tone. I slurped up hot coffee and leveled one look into his glowing red eyes. I nodded right back and told him matter-of-factly, we done got started without you. That one is about the Mothman trying to bring his ominous ass over to my house. Tell me something I don't know, buddy. Okay. Let's see. Should we flip? Oh gosh, that's a gross one. That's got dead chickens in it. Let's not read that to the babies. It gets gross sometimes, y'all. It does. It gets wild in here. Let's switch journals. Let's see what we got in this one. I'm going to do just a couple more. I'm past my 1 hour mark, and thank you for the Cumberland Center for putting up with me. They've been awful sweet to have me and to host me and to promote me the way they have. This is one that my mom suggested when I posted on Facebook looking for poetry suggestions. Oh, there's my Brandy. Brandy, I was just thinking. I get distracted. When I do see the comments, I get distracted. Brandy, I was just thinking about you last night. Language, my mama says. I was just thinking about Miss Brandy Rose Klein. She is one of my original OG writing workshop teens from over here in Olive Hill, who really like moved me to get more involved with doing workshops and trying to get poetry out into the world to a lot of people who may not think they like it, but then they do. I told you guys. But this one is one I wrote for my mama. She suggested a poem about tater sprouts. Everybody keeps saying they can't sleep with this pandemic on. Restless nights and brand new bad dreams have got folks tossing and turning, I reckon. Seems to be the opposite for me. I slept 12 hours yesterday and woke up all confused at 9:30 at night after falling into bed at 7 with my bra still on. My nightmares ain't much different, but the sounds outside aren't the same. Blackbirds singing and two-lane traffic make my head feel muddled up, and all I can think about through the fog is that I miss my mamaw, and that pretty little tater sprouts are bound to freeze if I can't get my ass up out of bed and out into the full moon cold. I do miss my mamaw, y'all. I've been trying to keep her safe. You know, we've been together for over 10 years. Like, this is the longest we've been apart in a decade. And she means a lot to me, and I really love having her around and being with her. Come up here, Pete. Why are you crying like that so much? Come here and show your pretty face to the people. He's being difficult. Come on. Look at his face, though. Oh my gosh. Oh, poor Bibbs. Let me put that away. No, you don't want to hear that. No, no, no. Okay. Here he is. He's gonna participate now. Sit, 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 sit. Can you lay down? Can you lay down and not be a giant pain in my butt? No. He's so happy. He's so happy to be a babe. He's a sweetheart. Let's see though. Let's see what I got. This is is this a different journal? Yeah. Here's one that I just wrote, worms. I bet you this yard is plumb full of night crawlers. Fat and writhing right below the surface. Unsuspecting bait, destined for me to wriggle them loose and scoop them up and skewer them for the catfish. And they don't even know it. Going about their underground business, utterly unaware that the sun will go down soon and I'll be there waiting. I'll be there, hunkered down in the moonlight with my chubby little fingers in proper pinching position and the creek bank on my mind. I keep telling myself springtime will show up soon and those worms will wait for me, digging in deeper to escape May frost. Oh Lord, this is, let's see, what else I got? Oh, this is one that I thought was funny. My brother, Bob Eric, suggested country sirens. And his suggestion, he meant sirens in the, like, philosophical Greek myth-like sense of the metaphorical vixens who live in the backwoods. I, however, took it absolutely literally and wrote this poem. There's some bitch riding around out here tearing up 2 lanes in a dune buggy. Gave me a good scare the other night. 2 a.m. and I'm creeping around the kitchen when country sirens screech out. One short blast to smash the silence and echo off the hills and bounce and ricochet around between the metal walls of all these mobile homes. The kitchen lit up with blue lights and all of a sudden the whole house was awake and peeking in between the blinds. Country sirens can be intimidating, especially at night, when those blue lights can blot out the stars. But that damn dune buggy ain't slowed down one bit. It's true. He's still around. I think we're okay. He's a fuss budget. He is definitely a fuss budget. But we're doing alright. Let's do, I keep saying one more. But here's one I haven't really got to read out loud. And it was a suggestion from my friend Tony. And the suggestion was, quote, UFO love. They used to go out real late with a spotlight and telescope, cruising the back roads and hunting for aliens. Green or gray, tall or short, hostile with intent to probe, or just lonely guys conducting an interstellar search for somebody to talk to. Didn't really matter. They didn't expect to see much, short of a flash in the night sky, and they wouldn't have noticed no ways. Even if they ran into the fucking Flatwoods monster. Those late nights that mysteriously oozed over into eerie morning glow, those were all about extraterrestrial love. About feeling out of this world. Really, it was just a silly reason for two nerdy boys from the sticks to make out in the bed of a truck. Two heavenly bodies exploring love, the kind that turns an old farm Ford into a UFO as they blast past reservations and expectations and into celestial climax. Is my internet screwing up? I'm sorry about that, guys. It's been fairly reliable. I'm really gonna do. Let's do one more here. I see one more, right? Here's one that I wrote this year for Lexington Poetry Month, and I think it's a good one to end the evening on. I think it calls back into the spotlight, the good work that the Cumberland Center for Justice is doing, and all of our people in Kentucky, our fellow Kentuckians who are out in the street tonight, fighting for justice for Breonna Taylor, for Sandra Bland, for everyone who's been hurt and harmed in this state and across this country. I see y'all, and I've been watching so many live feeds. It gives me live feed nightmares, and I'm not complaining. I'm not quarreling because I ain't in the middle of it. But I'm doing everything I can from home. I'm trying to help every way I can. But this poem came up during Lexington Poetry Month this year, and it's called Sunburnt Privilege. I can't hardly stand the heat. The more I sweat, the meaner I get. Every salty drop beating up on my brow pisses me off. When I feel it gather the audacity to condense and slide its way over my pale skin, my blood gets to boiling, and I brood, and I'm ornery. Summer doesn't sit right with me. But the salt sting dripping into my eyes makes me think of tear gas today. And I'm thankful for the reminder to shut my sweaty mouth and quit my bitching. I hope everybody enjoyed hanging out with me tonight. Maybe we can do this again soon. I'd love to. If you need anything, y'all let me know. I'm around. I've been trying to be useful in the midst of all this. And thank you again to the Cumberland Center for Justice and Peace for hooking me up and getting me motivated to do this reading. And if you would like, you can hit the tip jar. I've got my PayPal over there. I've got my Venmo over there. I appreciate it. The first of the month is looming. The rent is looming. I know it's looming over all of us. So if you can't, don't worry about it. And I love y'all. I'm not going to be upset because I know we all broke. But I'm here. And if you need me and if there's anything I can do, please reach out. If you'd like to know more about the book or more about poetry in general, please reach out. I am here. I am accessible to you, babies. And I love y'all. Stay safe. Stay strong. Use your head, and use your heart. Be kind right now. We need it. We need empathy and kindness. And I'm here. I say it again and again, but I do love you, and I'll be here anytime you need me. Have a great night, and thank you.